Yo, what is up guys, it's Vibes here back with another video, and today I wanted to be talking about PC versus the next gen consoles and what you should pick to fulfill your gaming needs for 2020 and beyond. So I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but the reason I held off until now was because I didn't have that much information to go with, and recently we got the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S console prices. And we got a new line for the NVIDIA graphics cards, the 3000 series, I believe, where they gave us the 3070, the 3080, and the 3090. And let's just say everything's revolutionary, and if you're into gaming, I think right now is the best time to be into it because we got the next-gen consoles coming soon for console players, obviously. And then for PC, we got these new line of GPUs. Plus, we also got the AMD GPU, which should be coming out next month, and we should be getting more information on it as time goes by. So right now, it's a really exciting time to be a gamer. Now, I know that these types of videos are kind of conflicting because you have the console players that argue with the PC players about which platform is better, but I wanted to keep this as neutral as possible, but I know it's not going to stay that way, so just try your best to wait before commenting anything. Wait, watch the entire video, and then comment your opinion down below. But if you guys want to see more content like this, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. But without further ado, let's get started with the video. So I've been a console gamer my entire life. Ever since like 3 years old, I've been playing on the Wii, then the Wii U, I played on the 3DS, I played on the PS3, and now I'm playing on the PS4. But I have been wanting to make the switch to PC for a while now, and now I think is the best time. I've been saving up a lot of money, and hopefully by the end of this year I can make the switch. Now, the closest I've been to PC gaming is playing like Minecraft and Roblox on my MacBook Pro, which isn't technically considered really PC gaming because it is, just a laptop and playing very basic games. But I have watched a lot of videos and learned a lot about PC gaming, and I think I am informed enough to make this kind of comparison about these two different platforms. But if I am wrong about anything, just leave it in the comments below, and let's get started with the discussion. So let's get into the first category, and that is price. Now, price is a big thing that convinces people to either go with the consoles or with the PC. It's like one of the biggest reasons for them to stay on console or stay on PC or switch to either console. So for the next-gen console prices, the Xbox Series X is going to be priced at $499.99, so pretty decent price. And then the Xbox Series S, which will be the slightly less powerful version, will be priced at $299.99. But make no mistake, the Series S is still next-gen. Now, the PS5 is going to be priced at $499.99 for the base standard edition, and for the digital PlayStation 5 that doesn't have a disc drive, it's going to be priced at $399.99. So that is $100 difference, which, it's a pretty big leap. $100 just for no disc drive is a pretty compelling offer. Now, for PC, there's no definitive price point, and that's a big thing. It's very customizable. You can go with super expensive, or you can go super cheap. But generally, the more money you put into a PC, the better and more powerful it is. But a common misconception of PC gaming is that it's this expensive thing that you have to be rich to get into. You have to spend thousands of dollars on a PC just so you can get into it, and that's not true at all. Like I said, you can get a cheap PC for the price of a next-gen console or even cheaper and still get into PC gaming. It's all about what you want out of it. And overall, I think PC is the better investment because even though up front you're probably going to be spending more money, in the end, over time, you're going to be spending less money. And if you guys don't believe me, let me give you guys an example. For PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, you're going to be paying around $60 every year just to be able to play online. Damn! And I find that absolutely absurd because you're already paying $60 just to get the game, and then on top of that, you're paying an extra $60 a year just to be able to actually play it. Like, that's crazy, right? But getting to the actual topic, $60 a year. Let's say the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X cycle, say it's going to be around for 5 years, right? Which is a pretty good estimate. 5 years, times $60 a year, that's $300 at the end of the cycle. And it could be even longer than that, right? It could be 6, 7, or even 8 years. I think the PlayStation 4 was around 6 to 7 years of a life cycle, which is still pretty big, right? But let's say 5 years, $300 by the end of it. If you tack that on to the $500 price point, if you get the standard edition, which I think most people are going to get, that's $800 in total. And if you're going to get, an average price PC that's pretty decent, let's say around $1,000, that's only $200 more, and that's not even the end of it. Then you also have the prices of games. Now, on console, $60 is normal. Like, it rarely goes down from that. Like $40 is considered a cheap game on console, which is completely crazy. But on PC, you always have sales. Now, Steam is this application where it has multiple millions and billions of games that you can play on there, and it always has sales. Like, when I was on my laptop browsing through games, $30 for a game was expensive because there would always be sales like at every holiday, and you could get games as cheap as $20, $10, or even $5 and we're not talking about little, bad games. We're talking about good AAA games. We're talking about Tomb Raider, Rainbow Six Siege, like all those big games. Not to mention a lot of other games like CSGO, Valorant, which are very good games, are also on there for absolutely free, which is completely crazy to me, So not only are you saving money by not having to pay online, you're also saving money on the games that you're paying. And for some people, they get a lot of games. Like, let's say you buy one game a year, you're spending a lot less like on PC than you are on console. That's already extra money you're saving. Plus, if you break your PC or your PS5 or your Xbox Series X, like even just one part of it or one part starts malfunctioning, then you have to buy the whole console all over again. You can't just fix that part. While on PC, let's say your GPU malfunctions, let's say it stops working, all you got to do is replace that part. You don't have to buy a whole new PC again. And every console lifetime, every console generation, you got to buy another one for another $500 or so, which is super expensive. While on PC, you can keep upgrading, and not having to buy a whole new one every 5 years or so. Another thing, which, for console is you're going to probably buy another controller in the 5 years, because there's no way one controller is going to last you 5 years. Or you're just going to buy another one just to, be able to play with a friend, a sibling, family member, whatever. So that's another $50 on there. So by the end, pretty much after another 5 years or so, PC and console, you're going to be spending around the same money, plus or minus $100 more or less, right? So, and the more years they go on, the more you're saving on PC. So it's an investment playing on PC, but it's a good one. So I highly recommend getting a PC if you're talking about in terms of price point. And you don't even have to get a PC for $1,000. You can get one for as cheap as $500 if you really want to, and that still works just fine. You can play a lot of good games for a $500 PC if you know what you're doing. Now, another big reason that people want to stick to either PC or console are exclusives. And I think this exclusive argument is starting to get dumb, especially from a PC player standpoint. Even though I'm not a PC player, I can tell it's just dumb, because right now, if you're going to go on Xbox Series X to play exclusives, that's dumb, because every single game that's on the Xbox Series X is also on PC, because they're both owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft, they're obviously going to spread their games from both platforms, so that's not smart. And then on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5, they recently, they used to have exclusives just locked for PlayStation, but recently they started adding games on PC which were PlayStation exclusives. For example, Horizon Zero Dawn was a game only available on PlayStation, and a couple years later, like 1 or 2 years, it was available on PC. Yeah, it's not available at launch, but it's still getting added to PC, and Sony has mentioned that they're planning on adding even more games to PC. Not to mention Japan, which is a very big country for gaming, they recently switched to PC. Like they are a very big PC demographic. Like right now, I think PC is owning the market in Japan and in a lot of other first world countries as well. But, it's just crazy, and this gives more incentive for Sony to add their games onto PC, because they're going to be making more money out of it. Not to mention, PC also has their own exclusives. They have, games like Valorant, CSGO, which is only available on PC. And yeah, Valorant is thinking about coming out on console, but, that until that happens, you never know. It could be a while, But all platforms have their own exclusives. The only platform right now that has their own exclusives and hasn't been added to PC is Nintendo Switch. And be honest, you're not getting a PC so that you can play Mario or Zelda at 144 frames. No, you're not playing that. You're trying to play challenging, demanding games that actually will look good at higher frames. Big 2D cartoon games like Mario, they're not going to look that much better. You're not spending $1,000+ on a PC so you can play Mario, So I think that argument just doesn't really make sense. Now the third thing is, actually, you don't think it's a big deal, but it really is, and that's friends. you don't want to be moving to a new platform and you're going to be the only one moving to it, because that obviously you can make new friends, but a lot of these friends you have, a lot of them you don't even know, you don't even play with, but a lot of them also in real life, or you're just really good friends with, and you play like almost all your games together, and you don't want to move to a whole different platform. Even though you do, you don't really want to, because you don't want to leave your friend behind, and you want to play together. But the good thing about that is crossplay is becoming very, very prevalent. Like crossplay before, a couple months ago, a year or two ago, no, very rare games had them. Fortnite was like one of the first games to have them, and then more games down the line had them. But now with keyboard and mouse nativity on the next gen consoles, and a lot of these games, like popular games, are going to start having crossplay once the next gen consoles come out. For example, Rainbow Six Siege and For Honor are already, Ubisoft already confirmed that they're going to be adding crossplay eventually for the next gen consoles. Because there's already backwards compatibility. There's no reason that they can't have crossplay, eventually. Maybe by next year, most games will have crossplay, because if they don't, then their games are just going to fall behind, because crossplay, it's the future, for gaming. So you can play with your friends either way in game chat. Obviously, it's not as good as having like a party call or party chat with your friends, but, it's still, better than nothing. And you can always convince them to hop on, Like, I started convincing some of my friends to hop on PC gaming. Some of them have already hopped on PC gaming without even me convincing them, and they actually convinced me to hop on as well. And I'm glad they did, because, I want to snap out of this trance. Every generation, Sony, Microsoft, they always convince these players to buy their new console, and they say all this good stuff about it, but then you get the console and none of it's true. Like, the next gen consoles are still going to be running some games at 30 frames. Like, come on. 2020 going into 2021, and we're still getting games in 30 frames. You're paying $500 for that? Like, come on. Now, another reason that people switch to PC is just pure power. And I know that if you get like a $300 PC, you're not going to have as much power as the next-gen consoles. But face it, most people are going to be spending around at least $500 or more on their PC. And you're going to get a lot of frames and a lot of like power that comes with that PC. And the thing is, yes, the next-gen consoles, apparently their GPU is going to be the equivalent of a 2080, something like that. Their CPU is very good. But the thing is, they cap how powerful they can be. If your GPU is the equivalent of a 2080, like if I had a 2080 on a PC, you could be able to run over 120 frames on that easily. You could be able to run 140, 200, 240 if you turn down some settings, Like, you should be able to run any game over 120 frames. But no, if their GPU is the equivalent of 2080, I don't know what they're doing. They're capping it at some point, because only competitive games are running 120 where they could be running 240. Not to mention, some games are still running 30 frames. Like, I don't understand that, And it's just the accessibility, because on PC you can turn off shadows, you can turn off a bunch of things, and you can make it easier to run. Or you can, turn up things and make the resolution, make the game look better, but go down in frames. There's so much customizability, and you can do whatever you want, whatever suits you. And that's the last thing I want to talk about. It's just the accessibility and the variety that offers with PC gaming. Now, console gaming over the years has been trying to be have more variety. It has been, first it was just gaming. Now you have like YouTube, Netflix. You have like some crappy, editing software like Share Factory. You're starting to do more things, but it's nowhere comparable with PC. A lot of people think gaming PC, all you can do is game. No, it's a computer. The reason we call it gaming PC is because, or just PC, is just that it's very good for gaming. It's probably better than most computers out there. So, but it can do anything a computer can do. You can edit videos, you can stream, you can play games, you can do your homework or just actual work. You can make music, you can edit, you can take photos, edit photos, whatever. You could do whatever you want on that computer. And that's all in the same thing, That's why it offers so much variety, because it's not just for gaming, it's for everything else. Like, if I get a PC, I'm not going to be doing just gaming on that. I'm going to be editing videos on that. I'm going to be streaming on that. I'm going to be, doing my schoolwork on that. There's so many things that I'm going to be doing on that one computer that's going to be worth it, in my opinion, for me. But in conclusion, guys, it all depends on the player. There's no one definitive answer. If you're somebody that works, 9 to 5, or works most of the days, you don't have that much time to game, and when you get home, all you want to do is just sit back on the couch, turn on your game, just play with some friends, and just relax. Don't take anything too seriously. Then the console's probably for you. But if you're someone that wants to take gaming more seriously, it's more of a hobby to you, or just more of like you want it to make it a career, or you want to, you just want to get that performance, or you're a content creator or a streamer and you want to take it to the next level, or anything related to gaming, you want to take it to the next level, then I think PC is for you. But if you guys want to see more content like this, guys, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. I'm going to be doing a video of the PlayStation 5 event very soon in a couple of days, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But that's it for today, guys. So, have a great rest of your day wherever you guys are, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.